Good morning, weekend warriors, do-it-yourselfers, and future mechanics of America. Good morning. I'm here to answer all your guys' questions today on car stuff. You guys call me during the week. You guys want information, technical data. But I do want to talk to some people about the shortage of skilled mechanics in the trade. I've been hearing that a lot. I've been hearing that there's a shortage of people in the trade, auto repair, auto technicians, and a shortage of people wanting to get into the trade. I'm not sure what that's about exactly, but I can, I can speak from my personal experience and from what I've learned and how things went for me and how my career's been and where my career is going. So I started off as a young guy working on cars when I was a teenager. I was working on cars when I was a young guy. When I was a kid, my dad was into working on cars and his hobbyist, and he was into classic cars, Mustangs and Chevrolets and all that type of stuff. But and then I became a professional mechanic. I worked for a guy here in San Diego, and then I moved. I went to Atlanta, Georgia for a while, and I worked there at the dealerships. I worked at Toyota. I worked at Firestone there, but I did work at other independent shops too as well. But I think the big thing for me, I think what I noticed was that we were paid on a flat rate system, which means we didn't get paid unless we were turning wrenches and stuff, and so that system was could be very difficult to make a living, especially since your paycheck changed from one week to the next, and people in charge could manipulate that paycheck as well at the end of the week, which makes it difficult to plan things. It makes it difficult to plan what your budget's going to be like or how to budget stuff when you don't really know. Part of that is just the nature, but they've changed a lot. Employers have got their mechanic employees twice the minimum wage if they're going to employ him as a mechanic. So I suppose that's helped. So I believe the minimum wage is about $16.50 an hour or something like that. So any guy working as a said tech is making $33 an hour now minimum. But I don't know if that's got to do with anything with part-time or full-time. I don't think it really matters, but there's that guarantee. It's still not enough to live on in San Diego in Southern California. You figure that the average rent's $3,000 a month, and so you're making $1,300 a week or whatever, and you're gonna get taxed on that. So you're lucky to bring home $4,000 a month, or more from working for $33 an hour. But that's what it costs to live in Southern California. That may be different. That's the rules in the state of California. So mechanics now employers are required to pay their mechanics twice the minimum wage. And that happened about 10 years ago. About 9 or 10 years ago, something like that. But yeah. I'm doing an estimate for somebody right now as well as I talk on this live. So Sunday, it's been a slow week. And that's also reflective, right? So if you're working for a flat rate this weekend, today's Saturday. I'm sorry, it's not. It's Saturday morning, huh? It's Saturday morning. Yeah. Where are all the weekend warriors at today? You guys, been a little quiet this week, hasn't it? Got the government shutdown going on. You know, you cut the food stamps off. Other government, entitlements, they're not going to be paid. So I guess people are kind of short on cash and fixing their cars, right? And everything else, including buying groceries. So, but, you know, apparently 1 in 5 households is on food stamps. Uh, that's a lot. That's a lot. Guess we're gonna have to move to universal income soon, where everybody gets a check and gets pushes button and has food delivered to them, and maybe before long we won't have to leave our households anymore. Just have everything we need. We'll have robots to serve us, and it'd be like the Jetsons, but in real life. Yeah, that's what's coming. But back to the subject of mechanics and needing more skilled technicians. Right now is a good time. Right now is a good time. Right now, in the next few years, is probably a good time to get into the business. I'm still in the business. I'm also a realtor, in case nobody knows. I'm also a San Diego realtor here in San Diego, and I've pivoted careers. And so it's also something that's of interest to you. You can feel free to reach out to me about that, and I can answer any questions you might have about getting into real estate as well. Either as a investor or as a realtor or broker. But yeah. Um, so yeah. Why is there a shortage of good mechanics in the automotive industry? I would say it's the flat rate system. I would say it's a flat rate system. I know that some guys, some of the guys I worked with, at Firestone and stuff, and be like, "Yo, man, this is bullshit, man. What do we got going on here? Fucking, you don't know what my paycheck's gonna be like, dude. Why don't they just pay me an hourly rate, and be, so they can't manipulate my paycheck, or I don't have to, so I'll have something every week." Kind of early on in my career, I went to work for a guy at a Firestone tire service center, and we actually did really well in that store. We increased the sales, and we were making a little bit of money because we were building the business up there at that location, and people were coming in, and it was a store that was empty before we got there. It had been run ragged, by a group of guys there prior to us, and me and a manager and a couple other guys built a store and started building a reputation for, having, being honest and having integrity and being fair price and stuff. And we were doing a lot of brakes, a lot of wheel bearings, suspension work, tires and stuff like that. That's what we did at the Firestone Tire Service Centers. And I was happy. I think we were, I was making some pretty good checks at that time. This is back in early 2000s, and I was breaking $1,000 a week back then, which was decent for 2000, 2003. And the first thing middle management does is they hire new mechanics to work for flat rate. And it was kind of like, you know, uh, um, it was the opposite of what we were expecting, because we had worked so hard to build the store, and we were finally making money and stuff, and we were having happy customers, happy repeat customers coming in. And then middle management says, well, you got all this business and stuff, let's help you out by hiring more help to compete for the money you created. It was such a wake up. I'll never forget that. That was like one of the main driving forces that drove me out of working for other people and just offering my service directly to people, to where I could discount that service, I could do the parts, I could do the service right, and I could do the work all in one, and I wouldn't have to charge the rates, the establishment rates, which works good for the mechanic. You start your own shop. It's a natural process. If you're gonna be a mechanic, eventually you're gonna get to that point where you're gonna have to, you have to start your own shop. Let's see here. Okay, I see. So I'm going to go for a couple more minutes, and I'm going to turn it off, and I'll have this live feed so you guys can go ahead and post your questions or answers or whatever, and you can respond back to, the inquiry or my question about, why is there a shortage of mechanics, and is there a shortage? I'm hearing there's a shortage of skilled mechanics, skilled technicians in the industry, and a shortage of people wanting to get into working on cars as well. So you guys will be free to just leave your comments down below, and any ideas you have would be great, and I'll go over those, and then we'll use that for the next live stream. And so I'll be doing these every weekend at about this time, or maybe earlier. I haven't decided which one, but this is primarily to share my information and help other people answer some questions they may have. I get a lot of calls with people who are stuck on one problem. They're working on their own cars or something like that, and they want to call me and ask me a question, and they want to get assistance on something. And this is the quickest and fastest, easiest way to do that. So I can just offer the assistance here, and you guys can chime in. You guys can ask your questions here, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You can ask your questions here, and we can do it that way, and I'm happy to help out. It's just if you guys can like and subscribe, I can stay on more. I can spend more time making more videos to entertain you guys and show you the world of auto repair as I see it from my eyes, in my perspective. But yeah, I appreciate the support of the subscribers that have already subscribed, and I look forward to working with everyone in the future, and creating more live streams, and dispersing more information. And I'm working on a book as well, so there'll be a book coming out as well. It's going to be a book that explains vehicle ownership. I'm also going to start doing some videos on financing. For all you don't know, I have a background in finance as well. I'm a financial analyst, and so I'll be doing some information on vehicle ownership, new car purchase versus used car purchase versus investment in stock market versus investment annuities versus investments in real estate, stuff like that. So there are going to be some other things mixed in, because it's going to be automotive related and real estate finance related. And you might want to check those videos out. And it's going to be, electric car ownership price versus, another type, gasoline engine type, cost of purchase, cost of fuel up, insurance and stuff. And so that way have a clear idea of what it costs to own your car and maintain your car, and whether electric car is right for you, whether hybrid car is right for you. And this is very valuable information here, and I look forward to doing it, man. It's going to be cool. You guys are going to like it. It's going to be pretty excellent. It's going to be kind of like Dave's Quality Auto stage 2. But we've been on here for almost 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut it short. Once again, leave me some information. Leave me your ideas and comments down below, so I have something to go off of. Give me your ideas, and I'll be happy to include that in the next live stream, the next video. But I believe that's going to be all for today, folks. So